I don't trust almost any journalist who's still in the mainstream system, right? There's maybe a couple of holdouts. Cy Hirsch still puts out important stuff every now and again. But the interesting thing that's happened is whatever force it is that has made it essentially impossible to do good journalism inside the official system has driven out and surfaced really good people, right?
Yeah.
We've got Matt Taibbi, we've got Schellenberger, we've got Greenwald. We have, of all things, Tucker Carlson is now, he's gone from being an anchor person, albeit a very articulate and insightful one, but an anchor person. He's now traveling around the world and doing a job that looks like something like what a newsroom used to be. And this was, of course, the Achilles heel of the journalists that had surfaced previously, was that they could do the job of journalism well outside of the New York Times and CNN and all of that, but they couldn't reproduce the power of a newsroom that could send people all over the world and actually report the story.
Yeah.
So anyway, I do see the emergence of, and part of it is what we're doing here right now, right? The inability of the system to tolerate open discussion of important topics has produced the phenomenon that you so heavily innovated, that so many of us have picked up, which is now fueling the ability of these independent journalists to bring their discoveries to the public. And the public, of course, is absolutely fascinated and completely uninterested in reading the New York Times because there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a very hopeful thing, and the degree to which that is also riding on, the purchase of Twitter and
people like Tucker,
right?
And also Fox fucking up and removing him.
Well, but think about it. All of these things are the same, right? You've got social media platforms that refuse to provide people a venue in which they can talk about whatever they want. That's business-wise stupid, but in terms of maintaining power and control, very important, right? You've got Fox firing its most important asset and thereby accidentally freeing him to basically dwarf their influence. So all of these things represent something that and The Onion, right?
Yeah.
The Onion was funny, right? Funny is a moneymaker. So why do all of these properties make dumb decisions that sabotage, that cannibalize their own business? Well, it's all pointing in the same direction. All of these things are involved in some battle over control that confuses us because we think of them as normal businesses. Right?
Well, it's clearly pressured by advertisers. It has to be. And it also has to be pressured by some intelligence agencies. If you got a guy like Tucker saying the CIA killed JFK, the FBI had 200 people at least on the Capitol, on the lawn, that were instigating. Like, he's saying this on Fox. And if you have a corporation like Fox, which is this long-standing conservative news organization that has deep ties to the military and to, conservative groups, and then certainly to beholden to advertisers, you got a real problem on your hands. Like, how much is this guy worth? And how many views does he get? What does Jesse Waters get?
Right.
Is it close? What about Sean Hannity? Is it close? Can we fucking just move him in and take a small hit but not have any propaganda hit?
It's not. And so, I think that actually describes the game, right? We've got to stop looking at businesses in simple terms, right? Victoria's Secret does not embrace fat because it thinks anybody actually is persuaded by this stuff, right? It does it because there's some higher order principle being deployed in which it has to play its role. That is driving the fact that there is some influence, a pernicious influence, causing everything that should behave normally to behave weirdly and against the public's interest, is driving everything that insists on continuing to function out. And if we were all driven out, but we had no mechanism to reach an audience, then it would be game over.
Right.
But the fact is, there is a mechanism. The internet provides it. So then the question is, well, what are the bottlenecks, right? And now we're going to fight over the bottlenecks. And, social media platforms all marching in lockstep. That was a bottleneck, okay? One of them gets broken out by Musk, right? Now, the whole sector can't behave in the same way because there is a place you can go if you don't want to exist under that control.
And when Musk buys it out, Tucker goes to X.
Right.
Which is a double wild.
It gives Tucker a place to go.
Yeah.
And so the point is he doesn't miss a beat, right?
Right. Not only that, he gets bigger. Far bigger.
Far bigger and more powerful. And, it's interesting to see how you can infer the control that Fox had, even over Tucker, by the difference in the way he is playing the game outside of that structure, right? And it's to our benefit. So I would say, as a committed patriot and somebody who thinks the West is in great jeopardy, the way we should look at the chessboard is the most important thing is maintaining that ability for us to discuss what needs to be talked about in a place where it can be found by people who want to hear it.
Absolutely. Well said. It's the only way we get through this.